And welcome into another episode of the Fantasy 4-Pack. I'm your host, Ian Power, joined as always by my good friends Matt Vitale and Frankie Santiago, bringing you guys another Mock Draft Wednesday. We have randomized the positions once again. Before we jump in, I just want to give everyone a quick update on, as we did make the bet on this at the start of our mock draft series. So far, Frankie is up 3-1 to nothing for you, Vitale. We did the math out. If Frankie wins this week, you are eliminated from contention, and I have to win out. So, I'm not saying I'm going to be pick sniping Frankie to screw him over. No, it's gonna be tough for me to pick snipe Frankie with him picking at 4 and me picking at 10.
Listen, I'm just giving him a head start because now I'm just gonna blaze past all of you. Don't worry about it.
We'll see. A little bit of news before we get into the mock draft. Nick Chubb officially in the concussion protocol. Doesn't change anything for me. I think he's never had a history of concussions. Unless this is a weird one, he's gonna be past it by the time that most people start drafting anyway. So keep an eye on it in case this is a weird one, but shouldn't really affect his value at all. Devontae Adams had a scare today in practice. Rodgers threw into double coverage. Adams missed it, came up limping, walked off the field, was back out in the field a few minutes later, though, helmet in hand. So, looks like he's fine. We'll be monitoring practices from here on out to see if it's a lingering issue or if it was just a, first time he gets hit in camp and he just got a little shaken up. And then, more concerning, fantasy darling Miles Sanders, down with a lower body injury, declared week to week. They haven't said what the injury is yet, but generally, if you're okay, you aren't week to week. So, color me concerned.
Yeah, the fact that they haven't come out and said what the injury is probably the most worrying thing for me. It's like they're being vague, and I don't like that at all.
Yeah, the only upside to this is that the NFL's starting a week later, so he's got that extra week to recuperate. So hopefully it's just something he has to sit out for, but I'm at least a little happy for my draft position that he might actually slip back to me if this continues on a little bit, but hopefully he's healthy because I think he's going to be great this season.
So let me ask you guys a question, because obviously we're drafting about as late as you can in our main league. If you guys were drafting, this weekend, or maybe even next weekend, given these week to week, he's probably not going to be a full go by next weekend. If you guys are in a draft that's going to be this weekend or next weekend, where do you take Sanders? Do you guys pass on him entirely because you don't know exactly when he's going to be ready to play for your team?
Personally, I'm still very much in. If the roster stays the same and they don't go out and grab, Devonta Freeman or trade for, Royce Freeman, then I'm still looking at him as probably a mid-second rounder. Probably he's in that pack with Aaron Jones and Eckler for me now. I think that's a fair range because you're still going to have to buy in pretty expensive to get the production he can give you.
Yeah, I'm passing on him entirely. It's not that I don't like him or think he's going to be good this season. I just don't like the whole vagueness of the injury. Even if he was there at my pick, I would probably reach on somebody else, if you can call it that. You just kind of overlook him completely.
Okay, Vitale, seeing as you're not completely off him, Miles Sanders or Josh Jacobs? You're on the clock. Who are you taking?
I am not a huge Jacobs fan, but right now I'd probably go Jacobs.
Miles Sanders or Aaron Jones?
Miles Sanders.
Okay, so and Miles Sanders or Austin Eckler?
I think I'd lean if I'm drafting this weekend, it's probably going to be Eckler.
Okay, so he's sort of like the back of that tier for you, where you'll take those three guys that you say he should be going around over him.
Oh no, he said he was going to skip on Aaron Jones.
Yeah, because I just fear those quads that keep showing up every week or every day at this point with AJ Dillon. Like I said, I think he's starting to emerge.
Spooky quads.
Yeah, I just think he's...
The shorts got shorter.
They got shorter, and I think he's just a real threat now to take enough work that Aaron Jones slips out of that second round for me.
Okay. Well, that's all I got for news. You guys got anything else kicking around? All right, well, before we get into this, as always, if you like what we're doing here, if you like the advice we're bringing you, subscribe on YouTube, hit that notification bell, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, etc. Any any new followers or subscriptions we can get, help us grow the channel. And if you like what we're doing here, make sure you share the videos as well, so that way we can get more eyeballs on them. More eyeballs on us equals more stuff we can do for you guys.
And if you guys have any questions, actually, just feel free to just
drop them in the comments
drop them in the
or
comments.
add us on Twitter.
Yeah, we'll give
Frankie in particular has nothing he likes to do more than live on Twitter 24/8. So
if you have any roster questions,
you can tweet at him at like 4:00 in the morning. You'll get an answer in 3 minutes.
Yep.
Yep, that's your job now, Frankie. Forever.
You guys ready to kick this off? Let's go. All right, and just as a reminder to everyone, Frankie's going to be drafting out of the 4 slot today. I'm drafting out of the 10 hole, and Vitali's drafting at 11. Frankie, 8 seconds until this mock draft starts. Who are you thinking about it for?
Basically, I was torn between whether to just jump over Kamara and or take Dalvin in a year where injury risk is a factor.
It's a factor every year.
Well, I mean, more so this year. But I think that Dalvin's going to get a lot of volume, but I think Kamara is overall just a safer pick here based on injury history. I mean, Dalvin's completed, one full season?
None. He's never made it to the fantasy playoffs.
All right, well, then this makes this pick very easy.
But like I said, I was going to say is Kamara does have the better offense, which I usually tips me in his favor, but we've seen multiple running backs and wide receivers that have been plagued with injuries to start their career and then just shake it. Good example, Adrian Peterson started his career injury prone and fumble prone, and after a few years in the league, he was able to shake that and move on from there. But staring at this pick, this is rough.
One of my favorite guys made it to my pick at 10. Easy decision for me. Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Let's go. I'll take that every day at the back of the draft.
I'm going to swerve Miles and go ahead and take Julio here.
Interesting.
I'm not a fan of starting off without a running back, but I think I can get someone I'll be a fan of here. So as you said when you were asking me earlier, I'm going to go ahead and just take Josh Jacobs over Miles again, just because of if we're playing off of current knowledge, which whether the system has calculated for that or not, I don't know. I'm not sure given how high Miles Sanders still is. I'll just go with Josh Jacobs, who I know is guaranteed work, and I don't have to really worry about the injury.
Sure. I actually am going to take my second running back here, because if I can get Miles Sanders at 2-3, I think that's enough of a discount, especially given who else is still on the board. There's no one else I really like more than him after Miles Sanders. So even if, because let's be honest, we've got 3 weeks until the start of the season, if I'm doing my math right. Yeah, about 3 weeks. He should be ready to go by probably week 2 or 3 at the latest. If I have to miss a week or 2 of Miles Sanders, so be it. I still get him for the majority of the season, as long as the injury isn't something too severe, which doesn't sound like it is.
Can I say how much I enjoy not being in the sandwich that is you and Vitali? I just need to stress this. I enjoy it.
Who's you locking up at your pick, Frankie?
I ended up locking up Kenyon Drake, and I think that at the back of the second, I am liking him.
He's someone who I'm surprised was able to fall to there, because you usually see him, at least in most of the best balls that I've done so far, which sort of function as a live mock draft a little bit. He's been going in the first round or early second round in almost every draft. So I'm surprised that he fell to late second in this.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and take Juju here.
Not taking Allen Robinson, huh?
No, I haven't had a lot of. I'm just trying out different strategies.
Sure.
I like Juju's situation. He's not really the only guy in town, but he's
the primary guy in town.
And I just don't think Allen Robinson's gonna be able to replicate what he did last year, because I think that target volume just has to go down.
Sure.
Especially with Anthony Miller going into his second, third year. I think that he's only going to do better. So I think that's going to take away from AR-15.
Yeah, I mean, he's someone who I don't like in the third round. I've said this before, so I don't have any issue with you not taking him there.
Yeah, I'm not liking these picks, but Robert Woods I would normally take here, but I feel like it's a little too early, and I need the running back depth since I started with a wide receiver, so I'm going to go ahead and lock up Leonard Fournette and then hope to grab somebody else to help shore up my team a little bit, but
a darling baby staring you in the face.
You could take AJ Brown, Vital. We all know how much you love him.
I'm actually going to go a little bit later, which probably will hurt me overall for the draft. But if I'm keeping this real to what I would do, I'm going to go ahead and take James Conner there because I know he's not coming back to me, and I need a third running back there. It's got guaranteed work. It's like I said, he's still another injury risk guy, but I mean, only last year was his real injury season. If I'm going to believe that Pittsburgh's coming back, I got to buy in on that running back.
Sure. Easy pick for me. I've been a big Robert Woods guy this season. If I can get Robert Woods at 4-3, I'm taking Robert Woods at 4-3. I love the floor he gives me. I'm happy with him and DJ Moore sort of anchoring my wide receiver position. It allows me to chase upside with some of my later picks. Frankie, what are you looking at 4-9 here? You taking your boy Zach Ertz, Mr. Eagles fan over there?
No, I'm actually going to take the guy that you were singing sweet songs about last episode. Check that out if you haven't. Mr. Terry McLaurin. I think that he's a very talented receiver. I think that him and Haskins, Haskins, you don't really need to. Well, I've talked about a little bit in the last episode. I don't worry about bad quarterbacks because they're going to be down in games a lot and throwing the ball. And I think the volume he's going to get paired with that talent is going to be awesome for him. To go back to this pick, I don't really want to reach too much on this, but I kind of have to because he's definitely not going to be there for my next pick. And I'm going to go down to the guy I was singing sweet songs about, Mr. David Johnson.
Just poaching our knowledge and then coming back around and getting your guys. I see how it is, Frankie.
Hey, that was the guy that I was singing sweet songs about, not you. What are you thinking here about, Tally? Are you going to poach my knowledge?
I think it's my pick.
Oh.
I mean, you can just pass your pick. That's fine with me.
I am going to take DK Metcalf here. Like I said, my first two picks set me up to be able to chase upside like DK with my further picks. I've said that I'm worried about the efficiency being the linchpin for that offense, but Robert Woods and DJ Moore are extremely safe guys. So even if DK busts on certain weeks, I should be getting a safe enough floor for my first two guys that I can weather the busts from DK.
So with this pick, I would usually go a little more safe because I need another wide receiver in there. But
Sure.
I felt comfortable that because it's just a short turnaround, a guy like Jarvis would still be there. A guy like Tyler Boyd, which is exactly what happened. Gallup went, who it was another guy I was looking at, but getting to take him with Diggs, I'm between Boyd and Green here. And the fact that Green's already a little banged up, I'm going to go ahead and just take Boyd and hope that Bengals offense is...
Green's the safer pick.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry, Boyd is a safer
Boyd's
pick.
the safer pick, but I know I'm getting 1,000 and maybe 5 or 6 touchdowns. But if the Bengals are that much that we believe in with Joe Burrow, then I've got a stellar pick there.
So I'm going to do something that I've been a big proponent of. I know you guys insist that it's more of a specifically DraftKings and nothing else thing, but I'm going to continue chasing upside. I'm going to draft Russell Wilson to get a Seattle stack going on my offense. Normally would not take Russell Wilson in drafts, but because I got DK, the ability to pair Russell with DK, get the safety of Russell at QB, and also be able to capitalize on the boom weeks by having them both boom at the same time. Big fan of that.
I really want to know how you stole my pick from 6 picks away. I guess I cannot avoid the sandwich.
It's a gift.
I'm going to take Marquise Brown here. I just think that, again, same kind of reasoning for Terry McLaurin. He's really talented receiver in a high-powered offense. I mean, they do like to run, but he has those, that boom play potential. And actually, I'm not super mad because Matt Ryan came around to me, and
You're not going to take DeAndre Swift?
No, I like to go safe quarterback.
See, okay. I'll make your pick and then I'll criticize.
Sing me your sweet songs.
So I like Matt Ryan a lot this year, but 7th round just feels too early for quarterbacks, especially for Matt Ryan to me.
I'm sorry, didn't you just take Russell Wilson in the 6th?
Russell Wilson and Matt Ryan are very different quarterbacks. I did just take Russell Wilson, but I took Russell Wilson to pair him with, and I'm taking Marvin Jones here just to keep deepening my wide receiver core. But I took Russell Wilson because he is very safe. I got him in the 6th, and I was pairing him with one of my wide receivers, so that way I get more upside on my team. It allows me to score more when the Seahawks go off, and the Seahawks are a very good football team. I normally would not take a quarterback that early unless I'm going for one of those elite stacks. Dak with Amari and Gallup or something.
Yeah, so I went ahead and took a page out of your guys' books, and I went with Rojo there.
Not about. I thought about him instead of Marvin Jones, but I wanted to get a little more depth at my wide receiver position.
Yeah, and I not to follow the train, but I feel like it's an appropriate time. And once again, it's another one of those, he's not coming back to me. If I don't take him now, I'm going to go ahead and take Carson Wentz. I like Wentz this year in that 8th, 9th round. He's kind of climbing a little bit, but I just love the passing volume he puts out.
Mm-hmm.
And getting to grab... I went with him second just because I was more comfortable that he would fall to me, and he's somebody I was more willing to lose. Whereas Ronald Jones was a little bit early on taking him, but I didn't want to risk the team with the wraparound scooping him up there because they actually did go running back with Sony Michel there.
Yeah, I'm going to take a running back here. Grab Jordan Howard. He's not someone I'm excited about, but I've talked about him in the past. He's a guy who you can just kind of count on to just be there and run forward for you, and he's going to get you some yards. Sometimes he gets a touchdown. It's never going to be sexy, but it's dependable. And dependable is what I'm looking for with my third running back, especially with the chance that Miles Sanders might miss some time at the beginning of the season. I want a guy that I can just plug in there and know that he's going to go out there and get me 7 or 8 points.
I really just want... is it magic? Are you mind reading over here?
Like I said, Frankie, it's a gift. Not everyone can steal your picks with impunity.
I really just want to know what it is.
Not everyone can steal your picks with impunity, but me, it's all up here.
So I took J.K. Dobbins there, my last pick, just to have some kind of running back depth. I was going to go running back again here, but you know what? I am going to...
There are a couple good running backs on the board here.
I'm going to go a little
Cohen, Marlon Mack, Latavius Murray.
I'm going to go a little bit higher of a tight end than I usually go, and I'm going to draft Evan Ingram here.
Sure.
Just trying out new things, and I guess he didn't go on my team, and I picked Tariq Cohen. Awesome.
I like it.
Yeah, I would prefer to have Tariq Cohen than Evan Ingram just because I don't believe the value is there for taking a tight end in the middle rounds. I think if you're taking a tight end, if you aren't getting one of Kittle, Kelsey, or Andrews, then you have to wait until like round 9 or 10, probably honestly 11, or like 10 or 11, because you're giving up too much to get those middle round tight ends.
So you're saying you support my auto pick?
Yeah, so
yes, I do.
I'm going to go ahead in here, and I'm going to lock up a tight end because I think the value for Evan Ingram there is there. Also, just because, fuck you, Frankie, a little bit. But at the end of the day, I do think he's not as sexy, but in the 9th, and I didn't want to let him slip past me again.
I mean, I think he's a very talented player. He's a good route runner. He's fast. He's got good hands. He's just not.
Like I said, it's just somebody I think is.
Yeah.
I like the Giants' offense this year. As far as this pick goes, I'm between Rager and Miller. I think I'm going to go with the guy.
But your boy Carry-On's there.
He is, and he has been, splitting first-team reps with Swift. So, like I said, I think it's more of just a knock at Swift than me trying to push Carry-On up the board. I went with Miller just because I'm a little more anti-rookie, and Rager in the 10th is a little bit expensive for me for buying, a Wookiee wide receiver.
Wow, there's so many Wookiees in the NFL. Who knew?
It is not expensive for me. I am actually going to pick up Jalen Rager there.
Yeah, it's because you're an Eagles fan.
Those are fighting words. But, no, I do have, the 10th is a little bit early for a dart throw, but you know what?
Well, Jalen's not as much of a dart throw, though, because even though he's a rookie, he is likely going to be forced into a starting role because we know how these Eagles wide receivers play, and that's 1 to 3 plays, tear their leg off their body, carted off the field in an ambulance.
They've already announced him as a starter. He's going to be playing.
Yeah, I know, because Alshon Jeffrey's starting the season on the pup.
Yes.
To no one's surprise.
Yeah, like I said, I understand. That's why he was even in the conversation there for that pick. I think the reason I just went against him, I just went with the math on that one, where like less than 10% of rookie wide receivers do anything. So I'll just lean with the math there and hope that he is not a generational talent like Odell Beckham who can produce fantasy stud numbers in his first year.
Well, and I think if he does something too, it's going to be under a mountain of targets. So like it feels a little bit too much like rooting for the rest of that wide receiver core to explode, because I think that's a bit sort of necessary for Rager to really put out like a massively successful fantasy season.
Yeah, just to I didn't really get the elite stack that you do with Metcalf and Wilson, but I went with a kind of mini stack with Hurst and Ryan. We'll see how that pans out.
It's not bad.
It's not great, but it's something.
What are you thinking here?
I'm going to take Zach Moss. I was thinking about it for a bit, but I do like the guy who's probably going to be used inside the 20s for Buffalo. Buffalo should be a good offense, and they've shown they don't want to use Devin Singletary there.
Yeah, as a
So
Singletary
I
guy.
don't know if you guys have looked at my bench, but I've drafted 4 running backs for my bench because I am trying to make sure that I cover up for maybe not having Sanders for an unknown period of time. Whereas my wide receiver core, I'm 4 deep already, and they're all safe, relatively healthy guys, with the exception of Marvin Jones. So I've been focusing a little bit harder on making sure that I cover my bases with my running back depth this draft, which is important to do. Remember, for the folks watching at home, if you're drafting injury-prone guys or guys who are injured going into the season, you need to address that later in your drafts. Otherwise, you're going to lose because of that out of the gate.
Yeah, you definitely want to cover your bases.
Like you need to you need if you draft a weakness early, you need to then turn around and address that weakness harder later.
Yeah, so I went ahead because I faded Miles. Boston Scott coming up there, I felt is a good little flyer pick if Miles does miss some time. He was he was producing numbers in that short period of time at the end of last season. So I think if he gets to get the starting role, even if it's not as full as Miles would be, even if he's a limited, RB1, I think he still produces quite good for the first few weeks.
Sure. And then I grabbed Mike Gesicki at tight end. I love the athleticism. I love that there's only a couple other guys in the offense who will be receiving balls. I love that rookie quarterbacks like to lean on tight ends as sort of a safety blanket. I think that he'll make sweet music with Ryan Fitzpatrick, and he'll be the lifeline for Tua if and when Tua comes in. And, it just feels like we've been looking at Gesicki for years now. He's in, I think, his 4th year in the NFL, so it just feels like he's primed for that breakout.
Yeah, on the 12 and 13 in there, I just took Damian Harris and Adam Lazard, or
Sure.
Alan Lazard, rather. 2 guys who I think are going super late in drafts who everybody should be targeting.
Sure.
With Lazard paying the number 2 to Adams and Harris being possibly the starter, if not the starter that I missed or something. But I think that, we're getting him in the 12th, 13th. It's tremendous value there for both of them.
Sure. And I went ahead and drafted Noah Fant, grabbed myself another guy that could break out in case Gesicki doesn't. It's not a popular opinion in the fantasy community, but I'm generally of the mindset that you should be drafting 2 tight ends if you aren't drafting one of those big name ones, especially in a year where there's multiple tight ends who are like favorites to break out, because you don't want to be competing for those tight ends if they do break out on your waiver wire. It's much nicer to just have that safety blanket on your bench. As someone last year who was competing for Waller and Hawk, and I missed Hawk and got Waller, it worked out for me, but it could not have very easily, and if it didn't, I would have had nothing to back up the absolute flop of a pick that was Jack Doyle.
Yeah, as the resident tight end guy, I agree.
Yeah, I know Hawk's a little banged up right now. He's not fully recovered, but I feel comfortable taking him right there.
Depress his price.
Yeah, he's in the 14th right now. I don't know how much more you can depress it. But yeah, in the 14th, I was completely fine with that. So just went with the depth play behind Ingram in case Ingram isn't that guy, or just Hawk is that guy.
Sure. All right. Where'd you guys come in?
We'll start with you.
I got a 92 out of 100 this week.
I didn't take it. I got an 84.
You're going to have to win out here, man. I got a 94.
94 out of 100, huh? I think Frankie might be cheating over there. He's the guy who always sets up the mock draft, and he's come in first at 4 out of 5 weeks.
Hey, I got that 76, though. That's going to kill me later.
Well, not if you win out, or not if I don't win out.
You may have a point.
Yeah.
Got my eye on you, Frankie.
I don't know what it was. Like I said, the first draft, I was just in the zone. I grabbed that 90. I think it was a 95 or something like that to take the win, and then we went live, and since then it's just been downhill from there.
I look at my like more direct score too. I finished 8 points below Frankie overall.
Wow, that's actually probably the closest draft we've had, I think.
That's a heartbreaker.
Yeah, I feel like especially with where my position was, Miles Sanders probably would have pushed me over the top to have a lot more of a solid team.
Sure.
Whereas that would be me drafting to win, as opposed to me drafting for what's, if we were drafting a league right now, you're not taking Sanders at the back of the first. You're probably going to let him slide a little bit, or you're going to try and take a run.
Oh yeah, no, I would not take Sanders at the back of the first right now. Early second is, if he makes it to there, that's where I start to think he's good value. Just because at that point you're getting more guys that are more question marks, and Sanders should still be an elite fantasy back when he comes back, whenever that is. It could be week 1, it could be week 3. We don't know. That's the issue with his injuries. We don't know what exactly his injury is, so we just know he's considered week to week.
I will
say, if I had any earlier pick, I wouldn't. I mean, obviously, I didn't take him in the first. I took Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and then in the second, it was just. I mean, you look at the final draft board. The guys that went after Sanders: Kenyon Drake, Aaron Jones, Austin Eckler. I think all of them have similar question marks to Sanders in the regard that none of them are these rock solid plays for a reason. I'd rather have a potentially injured Sanders than a full health Aaron Jones. I think seeing Sanders is alone in that backfield.
I will say I do like your bench a lot better than mine personally. I think that Marlon Mack is a steal where he's going. I would say also that.
Yeah, I think my bench was probably what killed me, because I doubt that the draft client liked me taking 4 running backs for my bench. But
yeah, that honestly, that's probably what it was. But I mean, you got 2 solid guys in there. Howard, Mack, Latavius Murray when he's a starter is really good.
And as I've said, like, I built this team to survive in the regular season. Obviously, once you get into the season, your team changes so much that it's gonna look different than what it does at draft time. The team that I built here was a team that's built to survive the first 4 weeks and then reassess from there, or survive and win as well as I can the first weeks. Like with this team, I can play matchups with running backs if Miles Sanders misses time, and if he doesn't, I can package a couple of these running backs to get a mid-tier wide receiver and shore up my bench that way.
Yeah, I think that's honestly, I think that's the best thing I like about your team, is that you do have that kind of trade capital in those guys who are going to be starting, or even.
Yes, it's the incredibly popular strategy in fantasy football this year of running back hoarding.
also known as the Garrett.
All right. Well, I think that'll do it for this mock draft episode from us. Join us on Sunday when we bring you guys another best ball episode, coming to you from the action-packed world of Underdog. Because we're not switching back to Yahoo, right?
I think that we were.
Yeah. Do you guys want to do another one of the $25 ones on Sunday?
I should be in for one of those.
Sure. Yeah. So tune in on Sunday as we join you guys from the high stakes tourney on Underdog. That's all I got. You guys got any closing thoughts? Cool. Well, from all of us here at the Fantasy 4-Pack, have a good rest of your week, and we'll see you guys Sunday.
I need one more.